Hello, I'm Zerift. How you doing? Welcome to Zerift's Unwritten Rules to D&D. Quick few announcements. For those of you who don't know, last week my dog was not doing well. We thought he was going to die, but he's made a recovery. He's going to be fine. He's just going to have a lot, because he had a serious eye infection. He's going to lose a lot of his sight. But I like to say, bottom of my heart, thank you for your support through this trying time. In other news, I'm sorry these videos are out of order. It was thrown off when I had food poisoning one day, so it happens. A couple of announcements real quick. There is a vote going on a video on the comment section where you decide what gets to be run next Sunday, Dragonlance or Desert Desolation. If you want either, please put in the comment section below what you of that video. It states what will we run next. You decide, Dragonlance or Desert Desolation. Look up that video, comment below which one you want, and then that's it. In other news, we are currently, our group, one of our members is working on a thumbnail for the videos, so they're going to be pretty fun and it'll be interesting. We're working on those, one for Desert Desolation and one for Dragonlance. Now, today's topic is do what your character would do, but. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, do what your character do is a golden rule, unwritten rule in D&D. However, there's rules, believe it or not, that have greater say than that one rule. For example, do what your character do, but don't be a murder hobo. You see what I mean? Those of you who don't know, being a murder hobo is basically someone who just goes around randomly killing NPCs for no apparent reason. Many people do it. It happens a lot in Evil Campaign, for doing just evil stuff just for the sake of being evil, which this can cause a lot of problems, because any good DM will create consequences for doing such things, because they are aware of a murder hobo can ruin a game and will create consequences for you and the other players. Let's try an example of this. Let's say you have a character who has a problem with authority figures. A mayor comes up, offers you and your party a quest, and you kill the mayor because you have a problem with authority figures. And as a result, all the guards come and arrest you and your party. You're all in prison. And you're talking about how your party, how great that is, and they're giving you the eye like they're not laughing. Like, and it's, you have to, first off, you have to remember this is a cooperative game. This is where the players and all the players cooperate along with the DM to tell a story. And never mind the barking. That's just my dog I was talking about earlier. He's in a lot of pain. So that's why he's barking. If you can hear it. So back on point. Yeah, I know it's a little distracting to think about my dog in pain while I'm doing this, but I'll try to get this video done real quick. So it it creates unnecessary conflict. It keeps, especially when it's a like an MMO, it's like what you would call a quest giver, person giving you a quest. But there's other ways. And here's the other side of the argument: is that there are ways to do what your character would do and obey these unwritten rules I'm going to talk about for this session or this video. Like for one, you could try to, instead of trying to kill the mayor, you deal with the moral obligation of telling your party, no, I don't think we should trust it. I have a bad experience with authority figures. You know, we shouldn't really do that. And the quest could be something like save some people from a ore cave or something. And you have to deal with the moral obligations of, on one hand, your character has to deal with moral obligations. On one hand, you can't leave these people to die at the hands of orcs. On the other hand, you have the moral conundrum of dealing with authority figures. So wouldn't that be more of an interesting story than just randomly killing a NPC for no reason? So, but it makes it infinitely better. But at the same time, you're obeying both rules by not being a murder hobo, but doing what your character would do. And I find that a lot of times when you do that, it creates a much more interesting story, and thus making the game more fun. Let's go over the second one. Yes. The second one. Do what your character would do, but do not steal from the other players. Now this is another one that's well known. Can't express this enough. Let me tell you a story of something that happened to me. We had a player who was a kleptomaniac. He would steal random junk for people, including players, like lint, broken watches. Yeah, I do mean lint. He would loose threads, broken items, and collect it all and put it in a secret base. One time, it accidentally went too far when he took some incense from me, and later when we were in battle, I was to perform a ritual to help the party, but it couldn't happen because I was missing my incense. You see kind of the conundrum that builds up from this. You know, it's a reckless thing that not only that could actually put the party in danger, and so forth. And let me go off by saying, if they have a magic item that you want, and you feel you got cheated or something, then you should know that any good DM gets each of his party members magic items. So don't fret that you didn't get one, because you may get one eventually. So, but an easy way to deal with this issue, for example, is instead of stealing from the party, you could steal from the enemy and find maybe a magic item. Or steal something that they would need to do something to the party. And like for example, there was a good example of this in when I ran Curse of Strahd. There's this magic item that these night hags need to perform certain spells, and they got stolen, and they can perform the spells, and that made it much more epic, as opposed to stealing a magic item from a player and putting him in needless danger. Let's go on to number 3. Number 3, do what your character... Now this one's going to be a lot more trickier, but I'm going to explain it. Do what your character would do, but do not hinder the party's progress. This is another thing, like the first two, that could actually get you kicked from a table. Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. Your party goes in through months to do something, to meet with this noble, and like has to go through all these kills and so forth, and it takes months and months to get there. And they finally get there, and you do something your character would do, and you offend a noble, and you ruin everything. Do you really think the other players are going to be happy with you? Let me tell you another story, and this one actually happened to me, and I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, though it features a whole bunch of people with a whole mess of problems. We had 2 players, and it was a party of 4, and I was playing my light cleric, and I'll get to later why that's important later in the story. But these 2 party members, our mission was basically to get to this island. While me and another player were going and looking for information more about this island so we know what we were getting into, they decided to find a way to get to the island by, in terms of, which I hate to say is the chaotic neutral thing. And those of you know when I'm going in air quotes, you know where of the story of misplaying chaotic neutral. You know this is probably where they're going. They decide to steal a boat, which they immediately get caught by the guards, and they throw crossbow boats and shoot crossbow boats into with ropes and start pulling back ashore. And they got a set, and they go, if I can't have it, no one else can, and they sink the boat, which has the guards going all around the town looking for them, these 2 perpetrators. And they get back to the party, and as we're walking back to get information, with all these guards all around looking for them, they look to me, my character, and ask me, do I know anything about this theft? Now here's was the moral conundrum. If you know anything about clerics and paladins, you know they have certain tenets they have to follow, or they lose their powers. So it was a bit of a moral conundrum because one of my tenets was honesty. So I was about to tell them the truth, and when everyone at a party goes, "No! No!" and the DM's like, "You better not tell the truth." I'm like, "But I have to." And I was like, being a bit of a rules lawyer, it's like, it's kind of in the book. They tell you honesty is one of your tenets. And, yeah, like clerics are bound by honesty, they're seekers of truth, and so forth. And the DM's like threatened to kick. I think he may have threatened to kick me to the table or something, or some sort of consequence if I told the truth, but I couldn't do it because I would have lost my power. So so I did it in a way to both without betraying the party. And here's the interesting thing, and I didn't realize at the time, but if I told the truth, the absolute truth, it would have not hindered the party in half, but we all may have gotten arrested. We all would have been thrown in the dungeon. It would have stopped us in our tracks from the quest. It would hurt us going forward into the quest. It would have hindered the party's progress. So what I did is I told the truth to hide the truth. And I basically said, well, I know they were in the tavern this morning. And they all go to the town. Which not only got them off our backs, but we continued to, ironically, to information on the island where we're given a free boat to go to the island. Now let's look at that situation again. What were some ways that they could have done this quest without sinking the boat? Let's say instead of stealing a boat, they go for an underworld contact to see if they can smuggle us across the smuggle us into the island, having to pay a fare for a boat. And how much of a cooler, interesting story that would have been. So my point is, there's ways around it than having to break that unwritten rule. So, yeah, it's a very bad thing to hurt the party's progress, especially in a campaign, especially a long-run campaign. So we got 3 rules so far, and we're going to do 5. Number 4. There we go. 4. Number 4. Yeah. Number 4. Basically, do what your character would do, but do not put the party in needless danger. I went over this one a little, and I know this one's a bit probably going to have some disagreements about this, but I'm speaking from experience. It's not a good idea. And I know people on the internet have said otherwise, like the whole kicking the door scenario. Like, instead of cautiously checking the door, how much interesting would it be if your character would kick down the door and letting all the enemies hard to play? Let me tell you something. From experience, they're not that understanding when it comes to putting them in danger that can easily be avoided. It happened to me, and in fact, I'm going to tell you that story. We're going to this cave to clear out some goblins, and I find a tripwire. And I was playing the stereotypical strong barbarian, but being the stupid stereotypical barbarian my character was, he has no fear of this yarn. And he takes the greatsword, slices the tripwire, and I thought it was just going to be a trap, said like a log hit me or something. Oh no, it was an alarm. So I set off alarm, and the goblins find out we're here, and they swarm us. Like a bit of a, if you ever played StarCraft, it was a bit of a Zerg rush. The whole party got a TPK because that's done, and everyone, and I was like, well, that was fun, guys, right? Right? They were not understanding. If it weren't for the DM, I would probably have been kicked from the table. They were very angry. They were upset. And they were just, I wish there was another way around this, but with this example, but the simple thing is, don't do it. It's one thing to put yourself in harm's way, but it's quite another to put the whole party's risk at harm's way just for a simple humor or something your character would do. Let me tell you another story. This is interesting because it features me and one other character. I was playing the same dumb barbarian again. I learned my lesson in the next game, but we entered this crypt of this Hall of Heroes. If you don't know what a Hall of Heroes is, it's basically where they all drink a merriment while there's a throne at the end, and everyone drinks and tells war stories and so forth. It's like this big hall and so forth. So there's this chair at the center, and there's all these skeletons and these hero poses. So I was playing a barbarian, and the other guy was playing a necromancer. And being the barbarian he was, he would have liked to sit in the throne. Because why not? So he sits in the throne, 3 poisonous darts comes out of the throne and hits him. He takes poison damage, and he gets poisoned. And everyone has a good laugh about it. what the necromancer did is he sees the skeletons and he takes them and puts them in the bag. And so he can, when he gets strong enough to learn how to raise dead later, to make them into skeleton minions. Because he felt that's what his character would do. As we go to this hall, we go to this room with this magic circle where these skeletons animate. And then all of a sudden, out of the bag comes this sword and stabs right through them. The skeletons come out of the bag. And we were surrounded by two sides by skeletons, and nobody was laughing. And my point is, with this story, is that there's a proper way to do it and an improper way. It's proper when you put yourself in harm's way, but it's improper to put other people, the whole party, at risk, like I said before. And you have to be very careful of putting the party at risk, and it's knowing whether you're going to be put in harm's way or your party in harm's way is really tricky, and most of the time it's better off not to do it, but don't metagame. Like if you see a chair in room, like roll investigation and go and see if it's safe, and then send it in, or check this, do an arcana check to see if these skeletons are magical in nature or something. But make sure you're not putting the party in danger. That's what I'm trying to say. And number five. Now this one's a tricky one because it involves all the rules by doing something, and it's a one thing that really does rub people the wrong way, and it may surprise you. But do what your character would do, but do not go on your own. Because this is at heart a cooperative game, and this rule may be confusing. Well, the problem I see, with, especially on streams, is that players go on their own and they break all four of these rules. They do all this own thing because they're party, because they don't get along with the party, and they do their own thing, and it really hinders the party. They do something in Murder Hobos, hinders the party and its progress, and steal from other players and stuff, and just doing things on their own in a cooperative game. And I know it's alright to do things on your own as long as you're helping the party as a whole. It's not okay if you go off on your own and do things that hinders or it's going to create consequences for the party later. That's what I mean by this. So it's a bit tricky because it's sort of, it all depends on how you do it. Doing yourself things by yourself that's going to help the party later, like going off blacksmithing, making a magical weapon or something, would be useful to the party. Going off and creating problems with nobility and stuff, it's not okay. So my point with this one is it's okay to do things on your own that's helpful to the party, not okay to do things that will hurt the party. So let's see if we can do an example of this. What would be a good one? Well, I did a good one with the blacksmithing and magic sword. Raising skills, or building a shop to, or opening a shop to open revenue for your party. What's not okay is trying to pester nobles and trying to make yourself more, have a dominance and so forth, because that was what your character would do. Is a poor excuse to like cause problems for the party. So basically, yeah, those are my 5 unwritten rules. don't be a murder hobo. Don't steal from the party. Don't hinder the party's progress. Don't put them in needless danger. And don't break all 4 of these rules on your own by going off on your own to do this. If you're going to go off your own, do something that's constructive. So yeah, those are my 5 rules for this week. I hope you agree. If you have any other unwritten rules for parties that outweigh doing what your character do, put it in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to make more. Again, thank you for your support with my going for the time with my trying time with my dog. So thanks. This is Zerift signing off.